Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hi everyone, Assalamu alaikum. I'm Niloufar Ali. I hope you all are happy and you are doing best in your life. Uh, I'm very happy to be accompanied by with my distinguished guest Andrei Muresanu. Uh, he is a computer science engineer. He is doing computer science engineering, and he is a AI researcher at a very young age. So I'm very grateful to him for his precious time and for joining this live show. So let's start our program and start our conversation with Andrea Moreso. Hi, Assalamu alaikum.
Hey, nice to meet you. How are
Thank
you?
you so much. Thank you so much for your time, for joining this show.
Yeah, no worries. I'm glad to be here.
First of all, I would like to ask you about your educational journey. Means I would like to ask you, please explain from your first means first class from schooling to I can say that from schooling to university. So please, if you can share with us.
Yeah, so I just went to the normal schooling, so elementary school, middle school, high school, then university. Um, I guess in terms of learning about AI, this was done on my own through YouTube and looking on websites online. There's tons of great resources out there for you to learn, and yeah, that's where I learned most of what I know.
Okay. So my next question is about AI, about your research AI. So what specific topic are problem in AI you are currently researching as an AI researcher, and what motivated you to pursue this particular topic?
Yeah, so for the past year, I've been working on large language models. So I started off working on prompting. So this is how do we ask the large language models to get them to do what we want? It turns out asking the model in different ways produces very different results. Next, I worked on fine tuning. So this is how can we slightly modify an existing large language model such that it's better for a particular task or an area of tasks. And lastly, what I'm currently working on is memory for large language models. So this is how can we get things more effectively, especially in a reinforcement learning environment. So this is an environment where you have an agent that gets observations and then takes actions. And based on which actions it takes, it gets a specific reward. So how can we get those agents to have improved memory abilities? So why this interests me is well, I always found this domain very interesting. So I've been passionate about AI for a long time, and when my supervisor first introduced me to this research problem, I thought it was a very valuable problem. So I started working on it.
Okay, great. My next question is also related with my first question about it's also about your research. So could you please share the details of your research project? Sorry, including the scope of your research project and what and hypothesis.
Okay. Um, so I don't know how much of it I can share, but what I'm currently doing at the moment is two main things. So the first is creating thinking about different memory algorithms, so ways that we can structure memory within a any transformer model. And the second main project I'm working on is creating a simulations based off of text. So this would be something like you you define put the lime in the trash can, and the program would create a simulation of where like a simulated robot can practice putting the lime in the trash can. And so the idea behind this is that if we can create lots of these simulated environments, it can be very easy for the virtual robot to learn to do all these tasks. Then afterwards, if it can learn to do all the virtual tasks, it can also do the tasks in the real world.
Like, excuse me, sorry.
No worries, no worries.
Could you please describe any recent advancement and breakthroughs in the field of AI that caught your attention and how they could potentially impact society?
Um, okay, so I guess recently, um, there's been a lot of hype and excitement about large language models in general, and I guess um, their ability to do all these amazing things. And people are concerned: are people going to lose their jobs? Are software jobs going to be replaced with large language models? I think that uh, to start with, the jobs will probably not be replaced, but a lot of um, um, the easy or repetitive tasks are going to be replaced. And so I think this allows, for example, software engineers to focus more on the creative high-level aspect rather than rewriting boilerplate code. And this can just make them more productive and faster. And I think that's, if let's say all engineers, or let's say even 10% more productive, I think that's a huge increase in the overall productivity of across all companies, and I'm excited for what kind of advancements that can bring.
Oh, you are right that AI overcome all the jobs of software engineer and computer science engineer. Exactly. Uh, so, what methodologies and techniques do you employ in your research project, and how do you ensure the availability and reliability of your results?
Well, this is very specific to what's happening, but to what I'm trying to find. But I guess to ensure reliability and repeatability.
Yes.
So the first one, let's say repeatability. To do that, well, you must control for the randomness that's occurring within the experiment. So you do this by using seeds. So all randomness is controlled via a seed. So if somebody reruns the experiment with the same starting random seed, you'll get the exact same results. And since we share our code, everybody can replicate our results. To ensure reliability and robustness, I guess the most common technique is just to rerun the experiments with multiple random initializations. And so
Mm.
by doing this, you can create error bounds on what a likely result looks like. And if you do this enough and you have enough compute, you can even create confidence intervals and say that with 95% certainty, the average result is in this interval.
Basically, I'm a student of biochemistry, so these terms are quite new for me, but I hope my viewers will understand more. I understand, but little bit.
I think even in
So,
biology, right? You guys use confidence intervals, or you use um, what's the term? You use metrics to see if something has statistical significance, right?
hmm,
So
okay.
it's the same idea.
What is the role of AI in medical science?
Well, I think probably the most um, impactful uh, recent technology has been maybe AlphaFold, which can predict protein folding, and has been used
Hmm.
for um, for lots of drug discovery. So then people can, instead
Exactly.
of trying out a lot of different molecules to see what they look like and
Mm.
doing months of experimentation, they can simply simulate the
Exactly.
results and get a prediction of what the molecule looks like. And basically, what this allows researchers to do is that they can't rely 100% on the AlphaFold predictions, but they can use AlphaFold to get some likely candidates. So then when they're doing
Mm.
all their experimentation, they focus only on the likely candidates instead of on the broad range of random molecules. And so I think this is generally a great approach of how to use AI in um, areas, especially where um, in areas where mistakes can't really happen. So, for example, if you're doing medical diagnoses, you can't really make mistakes. But I think it's a good approach to use AI to find likely candidates or
Mm.
to shrink the space of that you have to explore. Um, I think that's a great way to use it.
Yes, exactly. Someone told me that in future doctors will be replaced by AI robots. So, what do you say about this?
I don't think it'll happen soon. Maybe one day in the future, but I think in some countries there has been AI tools used for diagnosing, for example, eye conditions, or I forget exactly what, but something with the eye. And the idea is like what I said before. It's sort of really screening. So instead of the doctor looking at 100 patients, the AI scans and let's say obvious. And so then the doctor can should only focuses on the more difficult cases.
I think these robots work as an assistant for the doctors
Yeah,
because if they only if we don't see any doctor and we see only just see AI robots, so I think patients and all human beings need care and love. They robots can't give us love and care.
yeah,
No feeling.
yeah.
So, what are the some, biggest challenges or problems you have encountered in your research, and how you have you approached overcoming them?
Yeah, so I mean, I think with research, um, there's more failures than successes, and so like every day there's a new problem. You know, you can't really ask anybody because you're trying to do something that hasn't been done before. And so I think just the most important thing is just to keep going, and just know that after many failures, you'll eventually, hopefully, find something that works, and you just need that one thing that works.
Okay. So, where do you see the world in next 2 to 3 decades, or we can say in the future, in terms of AI?
Hmm. Yeah, so um, a lot of the AI predictions of the world that have been made recently, even in like the past couple years, the past 10 years, have been
Hmm.
radically incorrect. Even by the best AI researchers, much better than me, they've all been very wrong. And in fact,
Hmm.
there's a paper on which looks at the the predictions of many AI researchers and compares them to what actually happens. And majority of people are wrong. So I think any prediction I make right now is likely going to be wrong. But I think what we do know is likely to happen is that the progress of AI will continue to go quickly and maybe even faster. So, for example, in the space of large language models, um, the progress, like papers that are a couple months old, are already old research. So they're now not so relevant because the pace of progress in a couple months is just so quick. So And furthermore, like what the consumers and industry has access to is years old, or maybe 6 months old, which is
Mm.
you know in the pace of research, it's extremely old. It's like ancient. And so I think in the coming years we'll see industry and consumers have access to a lot of the new technology that is being created now. And
Mm.
I think people will continue to find hybrids between using AI and human creativity and ingenuity. So I think this will hopefully boost the productivity of a lot of people.
I'm excited for new advancement, or what I say, in future, because I'm happy with this the benefits of AI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. I think there's a lot of positive sentiments, and I think
Mhm.
um, yeah, it has the potential to have a very amazing impact.
Yes. Yes. So, as we know that there are positive side and a negative side to everything. So, as an AI researcher, what are some of the key ethical consideration and potential risk associated with the new advancement in the AI technologies?
Yeah, so I think the main risk at the moment, so the biggest current risk, today, is people misjudging what AI can do. So, for example, if you ask ChatGPT a question, it will give you an answer. But people usually, well, some people, they treat that answer as fact, which is not the case. So ChatGPT has zero guarantees on whether it gives the right answer or not. So if you ask it, the date of a historical event, it will likely give you the correct answer, but you have zero guarantees. Like if you re-ask the same question 100 times, sometimes it might give you the wrong answer. Um, and so because of this, people shouldn't trust everything that comes out of ChatGPT. Instead, they should just
Hmm.
use it as a tool to, um, you know, give likely answers, and then based on that, you go and verify them or do further research.
ChatGPT is for me is very good. A blessing, I must say, it's a blessing.
Yeah, I use it too all the time, but just know that it can make mistakes.
Sorry.
It's good. I mean, I use it all the time too. So, like for example, English, writing in English hasn't always been my strong suit. So I get it to help me write better and all that sort of thing. But um, you just have to keep in mind that it can make mistakes. It has no guarantees on whether it gives the right answer or not.
Yes,
So
yeah,
it's
exactly.
good to always have
Yes,
some skepticism.
yes, yes. Sometimes it's just like a human when he's emotionally. I say when a person who is emotionally not fine, he will give wrong answers. So sometimes ChatGPT do the same.
Yeah, exactly.
I start from, I ask you a question from about the beginning. So, how did you start your research and how did this idea come to your mind? And did you collaborate with other researchers or professionals uh, to gather ideas or knowledge about for your research?
Yeah. So um, the the when I started the research, I just emailed lots of professors to see who I could work with and who had space for students. And Jimmy Ball, he replied to me, so I worked with him. And the idea his group was working on was investigating um, forward generation transformers versus insert type transformers. So this is whatever, it doesn't matter, different types of transformers. So there's two different types of language models.
Mm.
And so I started on that project, and I was just trying to see how I can compare those two models. And we were also interested in the question generation space. So using large language models to generate questions. So
Mm.
for example, you see a bunch of answers, and you ask the model, what was the question? And while doing that work, we stumbled across the fact that we can use large language models to prompt other large language models quite proficiently.
Mm.
Because that thing worked so well, we just we wrote a paper about it, and so that's how
Mm.
the first project came along. And within that team, so there was myself and another undergraduate student who was helping with the coding, and there's also a team of PhD students who helped with paper writing and ideas and all that stuff, along with Professor Jimmy Ba.
Mm. Okay, okay, okay. You are under the working under the supervision of professor.
Professor Jimmy Ba. That was the project I
Okay,
was working on in the fall and summer. Now I'm working with Professor Animesh Garg.
okay, yes. Okay, great. So, what are your future plans or aspiration in the field of AI research after completing your studies?
Um, yeah, I'm not sure. So I know that I want to continue doing AI research, but I'm still exploring to see which area I want to focus on. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm trying out multiple different fields to see, to gain a better perspective of the entire landscape, and to also see what interests me the most.
So, what are your other goals except this AI
Um, Professionally or personally?
professionally?
Yeah. I don't know. AI has been my passion for many years.
Okay, yes.
Professionally, it's what I focus on.
Okay, okay. So, sir, at such a young age, you are a AI researcher. You are pursuing your computer science engineering, and mashallah, you have a daughter. So,
Yes.
I would like to ask you how you balance your personal life, professional life, and educational life.
Yeah. So um, if you don't sleep, the day is very long, so you can get a lot done. No,
Wow.
I'm joking. I'm still working on it. Um, my fiance, she helps a lot with taking care of our daughter, and couldn't have done it without her. Our parents also help a lot with
Hmm.
a lot of different things. Um, uh, but yeah, I'm still working on a good way to balance my time. I think currently what I'm trying to do is just section off parts of the day where right now I'm focusing on work, and then the next section I'm focusing on spending time with my
Hmm.
family or something different.
And when we are doing a lot of things, we have means you are a student, so you have class fellows, and you have a colleagues, you have personal family. So contacts are also increasing when you are doing too much things.
Yeah,
So we have to manage, and we have to give time to them.
yeah, yeah. And I think you have to pick and choose which ones are the most important and which ones you have to give
Exactly.
time to. And then when
Yes,
you give
exactly.
time, you have to, um, you know, because sometimes you can't give too much time to everyone. So when you do give time,
No,
I like to
no,
be,
yes.
fully focused.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, so, no doubt, family is a blessing who are supportive in your career and in your goals and dreams.
Mhm.
So, what is the most important person in your life? Do you believe that the reason for your happiness and success?
I don't know. I think there's multiple people. So my parents, of course, they
Exactly.
helped me so much through
Yes.
you know, my whole life. And my fiance, she's also supported me so much, and
Exactly.
her parents as well. Um,
Yes.
yeah, I think my whole family, they've been very supportive.
Yes, exactly. You are right. I really enjoyed our conversation, and I really enjoy talking to you. So, in the last, I would like to ask to request you please give a message to our viewers.
um, sure. I think that I guess I'll just say what my father always told me. So um, it's that um, I can't doesn't exist. It's just I don't want. So if you want something enough, you can you can do it. And yeah, that's been a good message for me, and maybe it helps someone else too.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you again for your time, for your precious time, and you come and join this show. Thank you so much.
Thank you for talking to me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. My English is little bit okay, so I hope.
No, it was great.
Okay, thank you. So viewers, we have Andrea with us. Inshallah, in our next program, we come again with another amazing guest. Till then, Allah.